everybody, we're back here with another Cord. My name's Lima. I'm over here with your boy Ben. I'm here with your boy Caesar.
Huh? What's happening?
I'm here with Megan.
Hi.
Savannah.
Yo.
And our special guest, Mrs. Nelson.
Hi, all.
So today we got a bunch of topics here that we want to talk about. We're going to be talking about some banger TV shows. We're going to be talking about some TV shows, any retro video games, how quarantine has been, and any changes that might be coming to the district.
Those are today's topics. So let's get started. Megan, you just mentioned no less than, I want to say, 25 minutes ago, you've been doing a lot of manga recently, of a TV show you watched called Haiku. Which is an anime. Is anime a TV show? Yeah, sure. What kind of TV show?
It counts, I think.
Yeah. Addiction. What about it?
Well, I'm just curious, what TV shows have watching during this interesting time?
I've rewatched Hunter x Hunter twice so far. I rewatched Haiku another time. I rewatched an anime called Seraph at the End, where I know Seraph 4 times. And then read the manga for it that I just finished. I started watching the Fate series. I'm almost done with that one.
Oh my god.
I'm now watching something Stray Dogs. I forgot the first word. But something Stray Dogs. That my friend, I lost the bet, so now I'm watching that one. I've also been watching Fruits Baskets. I've been watching Game of Thrones.
That's a lot of TV shows, Megan.
How do you have this much time?
Is it like in the schedule? No, 8:15, time for let's see, what's today? Game of Thrones, right?
I always have like a show in the background when I'm doing something. So if I'm doing homework, I watch a TV show. If I'm mostly that. I just always have a show going. I also sometimes when I play a competitive game, I have a show on the side of it. It works sometimes.
You should make You should make like a TV reaction channel.
Okay, you see. I am very tempted to, but I totally support that. I can do it. I do also have like 6 more shows that I'm gonna start watching soon. Oh, and I also watched a show called Given.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Well, what about the rest of you, huh?
What?
Well,
What about the rest of the people on this call?
Gotta move on.
I think that's like all the shows I've been watching actually. It's only like 11 shows.
Only 11 shows.
Only.
So, Savannah, haven't you been watching shows?
I have indeed. I've also been watching a lot of movies, especially like, the ones that we were watching all together.
Wait, I also watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh my god, that was still during this break. Okay, so I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Rec, Friends, Supernatural, NCIS, The Goldbergs, Modern Family. I started watching Game of Thrones too. I think that's it.
It's a lot of shows. Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I've actually been able to watch on TV for a bit are soccer games when they pass in the German league. But I was thinking about watching this one anime movie. I don't know who's made it, but it looks like a Weathering with You.
Okay, Weathering with You. So, that's also on my list. It's, isn't that a Ghibli movie?
I believe so.
I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, oh, that actually looks like a good movie.
Yeah, that's a Ghibli movie. I remember when I was watching one of my shows, I always got an ad for it. Over and over.
Did anyone subscribe? I was just gonna ask you, did anyone subscribe to HBO Max?
So, I got HBO Max and I share that one with 4 other people. I share it with
you,
myself,
me, and your parents,
yeah,
and Jody.
And I have a habit of sharing my show accounts with a whole bunch of people. So my HBO account has 4 other people on it. My Hulu account, I think, has 6 other people on it. My Crunchyroll, we don't even talk about that one. I think there was like 10 other people on my
Everybody.
Crunchyroll. The only account that I have that's not open is Netflix, because it's Netflix, and you don't do that. And I don't pay for Netflix, it's my parents.
Miss Nelson, what have you been watching?
Miss Nelson?
Yeah.
I have been watching, let's see, I watched 30 on 30. I can't remember who publishes it, ESPN or not, like The Last Dance, which was about the Bulls and Michael Jordan and all that. I don't know if you guys saw that. And they did another one on Lance Armstrong, and I watched that. I watched The Witcher, which I really enjoyed. And if we weren't in stay-at-home time, I would have never made it past episode 2 because I had not a clue what was going on. But I didn't have anything better to do, so I just kept watching it. And then eventually I loved it. I was sad that it was over. And we watch a lot of Modern Family and Big Bang, which is, I kind of would like to get HBO Max because I think you can watch all of Big Bang on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we want to watch it on our TV, and our TV's old, so we can't get HBO Max on the TV. We'd have to like Chromecast it or whatever. So thinking I need to buy a new TV, and then we need to get HBO Max so I can watch the Big Bang Theory.
You can get a 7-day free trial with HBO Max. That is a thing.
But we can't get it on our TV though. So we all, like, it's a thing we like to do as our family is watch it, and I don't want to sit and watch it on, like, we're all sitting and looking at our own individual devices.
Monitor?
What?
Or do you have a computer at your home?
Not with all of our computers are like laptops. We don't have, a big monitor. Well, my son does. We got him like one of those big monitors, like that's a TV and a computer. So I mean, I guess we could all go in his room and watch HBO Max, but I'm not sure he'd like that very much.
Just take over his
I also have a
room.
TV in my room, and my TV has an HDMI like plug-in, so I've hooked up my TV in my room to my computer. So I technically have 3 monitors, but when I want to watch a show like in bed, I just watch it on that TV because it's all connected to my computer.
Oh, that's actually, and also, you know what? We got my daughter a projector for Christmas, and I'm thinking we could hook up the projector and just show, like, watch Big Bang on the wall or whatever.
Yeah, you can probably hook up the projector to a laptop with a cable. It could be an HDMI to, what's it called? USB.
Actually, a good idea. And I've been watching a lot of Game Show Network, at which they never do. This is totally something that's happened during stay-at-home.
Yeah. I think my addictions to show like peaked in quarantine.
Yeah.
Along with spending money.
No, well,
What else were we supposed to do?
Oh my god. Yeah, the same way. For me, the Game Show Network is like it's a really bad habit I have now. So we have a TV, we have cable. I only watch the news and Game Show Network because it's just so bingeable. Like what am I supposed to watch? What's on GSN? Family Feud? Sure, I'll hear Steve Harvey scream for half an hour. Why not?
What about America Says? That's my favorite one on there.
I haven't seen that one yet, actually. I don't know. I usually don't pay attention when it's on. I'm usually doing something. It's just like background noise and just Steve Harvey screaming and Alex Trebek pandering on about his sad and monochromatic life. But that's how it is.
My mom and I watch Shark Tank every time we have dinner. It's become a habit now, and it's kind of sad.
I am related by like 50 generations to one of the Shark Tank judges. O'Leary.
Really?
Yeah.
Would be Mr. Wonderful. It really would be.
Yeah. He has the same last name as me. We're related in some other terms.
It's somewhere,
You asked him for some.
I wish that was how the world worked.
Get that insurance money,
You just share a last name with a millionaire? Hey, we're related. Can you share?
Hey, bud, I can't afford college. Come on.
Honestly.
One of my husband's friends was actually in our wedding. He was on Shark Tank. He had a product. His product was like a broom and a dustpan, and they offered him a deal. And then he said something and he angered someone, so they took the deal away.
What?
Oh,
Yeah, they don't show that on TV, don't they? Oh my god.
No, they showed it all. I mean, it was on there. They offered the deal.
Was it really?
Yeah, they were brutal to him.
Yikes. Yeah, I've heard some Shark Tank horror stories, you know, but nothing to the point where you just take away a deal by what someone said.
someone
Was it
on there-
me? What?
Oh, there was someone on there yesterday who she was pitching something for a really easy duvet cover, and she had little to no sales. So at the end, Mr. Wonderful was just like, "No, leave, get out." He didn't even say "I'm out." He just said "Go."
Be gone.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful.
That's the bald guy, right?
Why did they
Yeah.
call him
That's
Wonderful?
hilarious.
Because he's so wonderful.
Is
He doesn't sound very
No.
wonderful.
Speaking of, time to continue watching Stray Dogs.
What?
So the
I'm
TV.
watching a show right now.
Oh, really? Actually,
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, I also watched Promise Neverland with my mom over this break.
oh yeah, that's an anime. I gotta watch
yeah.
that. Oh my god.
I
Yeah.
introduced my sisters to anime, and I started with My Hero Academia, but I moved like literally last night to Promised Neverland, so we're gonna like watch a bunch of different things.
Yeah. Honestly, at first, like anime is just a weird like thing, but once you like get a good show that you start off with, you can't go back.
Yeah.
What was your guys' first like anime show?
Well, a long time ago, I watched Fairy Tail and I liked it, but it didn't like get me hooked. And then when everyone started recommending like Promised Neverland, and then I watched it, and yeah. Now I
My
just
first
watch.
show was One Punch Man.
Dude, I want to watch that one.
You
It's-
should. It's a good one, but like
It's really
season
good.
it was kind of like bad, but
I wasn't a fan, but well,
season
and for me, besides One Punch Man, when I was like 5, like every Hispanic kid in the West Coast, we used to watch Dragon Ball Z on like, you know, Cartoon Network at 8 p.m. Yeah, my brothers and I used to go around we used to have a little 13-inch TV. We couldn't afford a big TV back then. We had a little 13-inch TV. It was nasty CRT, but it got channels, and we used to watch every night Dragon Ball Z. And I got to the point where Cell was like about to die, and then I stopped watching because my brother got a new room, and we like separated out a little bit, and we stopped being so close. But besides Dragon Ball Z, probably One Punch Man is the first one.
Dude, you missed that. The Cell games were so good. I started off with Dragon Ball. I don't know if I started off
every
with the
time.
original one. I think I started the one with Kid Goku, so that is the original one. I started off with that one though, but I definitely, dude, I love Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z, I think, was probably when it was at its best. Because right now, Dragon Ball Super, but yeah, dude, Dragon Ball Z, you missed the Cell games, man.
I'm happy I did.
I feel like every podcast is just turning into anime talk. Like,
honestly, that or like food. Miss Nelson, did you have like a childhood show that you always watched?
Ooh, I watched Flipper. Often.
Flipper sounds familiar.
They call him Flipper, faster than lightning. Okay, anyway, I watched, and I watched Gentle Ben, which was about a bear. But they were both like, you know, live actors.
Wow.
Wait, was Flipper that
I've
one
never watched anime.
dolphin TV show? Right? It was it one. Hold on, I'm trying to think here, because like I've heard it before, but I don't want to look it up. I swear.
Both Flipper and Gentle Ben were fairly similar. Like both of them were dad was like a park ranger or a sheriff or something, and then there was a kid involved, and the kid always like befriended the dolphin. Always saved the day.
Also, was
Always,
yes, it was a dolphin.
saved him.
Right. Same kind of formula. Well, it works for a lot of TV shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
Have
modern.
you ever watched anime before, Miss Nelson?
I don't think I have.
Miss Nelson, let me tell you.
Do you have any interest
Oh
in it?
no.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about, is it Haiku, the one with the volleyball?
Yes.
Yeah, I just started that one too.
Oh yes, I know it very well. I've known it. It's gone to the point where a person can say a line. I will most likely know exactly what episode that they're referencing
You're
to.
scaring me.
That's me and Frasier. I can't say much.
That's me with so many shows.
Supernatural.
And Friends.
Yes.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But Miss Nelson, if you like volleyball, because didn't you say that your daughter played volleyball?
Love volleyball.
Yes, you should watch Haiku. It's on Crunchyroll. It's also on Netflix.
Oh my god.
Oh, I didn't know it was on Netflix.
It's on
It is,
Netflix,
yeah.
but only the first 2 seasons are on Netflix. The third season's on Crunchyroll.
Yeah,
I feel like I should at least try it so that I know. if
Please.
it's good or not.
And it's not. It's very realistic to actual how volleyball matches are. They don't. Yeah, it's very realistic, and it's. I can talk about it for hours.
Oh, you
We know.
have.
I'm trying to restrain myself.
Tiny boy with orange hair.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, and you got the guy who can make the perfect passes.
Are you talking about Kingiyama?
Yes.
What else were we talking about?
I mean,
He makes
okay,
perfect
you
passes.
should know technically can make good passes too, because he makes the passes.
Okay, guys. Okay.
Again, please.
Guys,
This
pause.
happens
Wait,
every
who-
episode.
who is-
Everybody, wait, hold up. Can we all remember Max and Ruby? Wow, wow, whoopsie.
Oh,
Oh, those were our kids
I love
shows.
Max Ruby.
Oh yeah, those are our shows, dude. Blue's Clues. Blue's Clues.
I think Phineas and Ferb was probably my favorite of any cartoon.
It was
I was
very
a
good.
Disney child. I watched Wizard of Waverly Place and
Yeah, I watched those too.
and Twilight, Zack and Cody, and Drake and Josh.
Wait a
Um,
minute.
Oh my God, stop.
iCarly was the best show.
iCarly.
Dude, iCarly. You know, mine is Dan Snyder. It's an amazing show.
I think mine has to be actually Kim Possible.
I've never seen Kim Possible, but
I
I
like
know the song.
Oh my god.
You know, I'm biased for Drake and Josh forever. That show was a masterpiece.
I watched all of Drake and Josh on Hulu a couple months ago.
And so did I.
Remember after iCarly finished, everybody went to go watch Victorious.
I was one of those people. Yes, I also rewatched The Victorious when it went on Netflix. I
Man,
watched that in a day and a half.
That broke the internet for a couple of days. I remember that.
I cried. That's okay. So
Everyone was
I've cried in 3
freaking out.
things. I've cried in 3 movies and shows. The one is the ending of iCarly.
Yeah.
It.
One is the ending of iCarly. The second one is The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. And the third one is Dog's Purpose. Those are the only ones that I'm crying.
You know what's funny, Megan?
Just watch. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I said okay. Do you guys ever watch Dog with a Blog?
Oh my.
Yes.
Yes, I love that one. Oh my god.
You know, looking back at the plots of these shows, I am it makes no sense. You know, two girls, an extremely successful internet show, a dog that has the intelligence of a human, and of all things to do, he starts a blog.
I think
Well, I mean, humans do that too.
Look, good luck, Charlie.
Oh, I remember Charlie.
Oh yeah.
That's
I watched the other-
What?
I watched a taping of Girl Meets World. We went down and went to a taping of that.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They brought that show back recently.
They did.
They
They
did.
did?
Yeah, it was wasn't it the first Boy Meets World, and they rebooted it as Girl Meets World?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
They continue Girl Meets World.
Yeah.
Yes, I never watched the first one, but I watched like one episode of Girl Meets World, and it was interesting, to say the least.
I watched both shows with my entire family.
I never understood the watching with the family thing. I've never done that before.
I haven't done that in a very long time.
I don't know.
I've only
Hispanic
done
families don't do that.
I only do that when it comes down to soccer with my dad. And I remember last time that there was a World Cup, we were both arguing over who was gonna win.
Which game? This is important, Lima.
It was the Argentina-Germany game.
Oh, don't remind me, buddy.
He was like, yeah, okay.
Hush.
He was betting his money on Germany. I was betting my money on Argentina. I said, dude, Messi's gonna do it this time. This is gonna finally be the year that he wins.
Yeah, finally.
They're gonna lose. He said the Argentinians suck. Watch the Germans beat them.
Guess what happened,
And I
buddy?
said, okay, I'll put a $10 bet on it. We saw the results after church. And he started laughing and he said, I told you. And I said, what was the score?
Dude, the Argentinians can't win. They'll never win a game.
They have Messi. I don't know how they managed to screw that
Okay,
up.
they have Messi, but everybody else sucks.
That is so
They have
true.
Messi, but
It's
that's
a
it.
one-man carry team.
they have the golden ace, and that's literally all they have.
I was rooting for Iceland and Nigeria. Nigeria because they had the best uniform.
They do have a good uniform.
That was me in football.
And Iceland because they had the best chant, or the thunderclap or whatever. Wasn't that? Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's Mexico. You know, just represent home country. And like I remember the game. Who was it against? Shoot, I forgot. But, huh?
Holland?
Was it Holland? It was the one where like South Korea had to beat Germany, so Mexico could win.
Oh, no, I know which one you're talking about. That's not 28. That's the 2018 World Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, but pretty much like
I remember.
so Mexico can pass in the top 8 divisions. South Korea had to beat Germany so they can pass as the 8th spot. And it was like middle of the game, they were getting destroyed, and all of a sudden you hear all the Mexicans cheering in the crowd because South Korea had beat Germany, and it was the funniest thing. God, we were crying so much that day. That was an amazing day of sports.
Oh, I remember.
Every 4 years? Or is it every 2 years?
Every 4 years. It's
Every 4
every
years?
4 years.
So 2022 is the next one. And go Mexico, baby, go Mexico.
I remember that, dude. No, I remember watching, and my dad's like, the Mexican fans are getting up, and I'm like, why are they getting up? Is Mexico winning? He's like, no. And he said, look at the North Korea versus what's it called, Germany score. And I was like, Dad, they're winning 2-1. They're actually winning. It was a 90th minute goal, dude. I could not.
It's the first time in history that Germany hasn't reached top 8 in the World Cup, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah. Even though didn't they lose to Brazil the next round?
I think I don't recall. I didn't care. I was like ecstatic. But yeah.
See, I don't have much experience with like sports, at least in a while. But like, I know over summer PE we watched the World Cup in Mr. Rutgers class.
We had Mr. Speaks, and we knew y'all were doing that, and he said, "No, get to work."
Our class was more fun.
I think there was another class that like
I had
a couple
Mackenzie.
students like came in, and then they just chilled in there and watched it with us. I don't remember exactly what it was.
It was frustrating.
We always played silent speedball in our class at the end of the day.
No, he wanted to actually teach us. Like, come on, dude.
You extra work to do.
Huh?
Was it required?
He gave us homework too.
Yeah, we didn't do that. Ooh.
You tried to talk to my teacher and saying to have us do the work, but our class was like, no, it's not required. We're not doing it. And Mackenzie was like, okay.
Come on.
And by the way, I was the one saying that it wasn't required, and everyone else was like, yeah, it's not required.
Yeah, we can talk about summer PE. No, that's behind us. We're seniors now. Oh my god.
But
No,
when,
not-
like, Savannah and I kept playing Pokemon Go.
I remember that, and you guys like were in awe of Mike.
Yeah, because your dad cheats.
No,
Yeah.
Pokemon Go to the polls.
I mean, speaking of Pokemon and all that, what video games have you guys been playing? I am playing right now Pokemon Black, as you can see right there.
What's all you
What you guys
doing?
been playing? DS has to be my all-time favorite, just for playing a lot of games.
In the past couple of
I haven't been playing any games. I've been watching TV shows.
okay.
You're not a gamer.
Okay, so I have these phases that are natural.
You know, we discussed in the last podcast, and we all agreed Meg's not a gamer, but that's just consensus.
I'm not a gamer. Yeah, it's not like I have like 200 games on my Steam account.
No, not at all.
And
You have
game.
0 games. None.
I have no games. It's
It's the hours, though.
free right now.
I mean, for me, I've been playing, like, I think Ben and Quinton noticed, a lot of Dr. Mario. This game, it's like Tetris, but worse. Just harder.
Oh, I know what game you're playing. I have it.
Yeah, Dr. Mario is amazing. I love. I'm playing the classic version on the like on the NES like free page with the Switch, and like I have fallen in love. Like I can check. I have 4 hours already in the past 3 days of Dr. Mario, which is more than usual for me. But yeah, Dr. Mario slaps. I will stand by that.
I've been tempted to. I had this friend in one of my like online groups, and he emulated Breath of the Wild on his PC.
Oh my god.
That's scary.
Yes, and it runs very smooth. And he said that it took him to like download the file of Breath of the Wild. It took him 4 hours.
Yeah, reasonably.
Sounds about right. Yeah,
And
I
I
tried.
said, I'm tempted, but I could just, go over a couple feet and just pick up my Switch and play Breath of the Wild.
I still have not played that game. I'll get to it eventually.
I aim better with a mouse, so.
Well, what about you, Mrs. Nelson? What kind of video games have you been playing? I know that you saw my DS over there. Have you ever played on the DS or?
Ooh, I believe it. But what I played was like brain games.
Hey,
What games?
your brother is
Brain
I'm in the
games? So, I mean, it was a cartridge you could get for a DS. No, it was a cartridge you could get for a DS, and, you'd have to, it was one of those things where, there'd be colors on the screen, but they would be in black, but it would be written in the color red, and you had to, it would time you, and the idea was that if you continued to play that, it would keep your brain young or something along those lines.
Yeah, I recall the DS in its early history was before Nintendo had the Wii. They wanted that kind of family console still, but they wanted to expand their handhelds. So they told a lot of companies, hey, make games that adults would enjoy to try to sell to the adult market. It didn't go very well, but a couple units were sold here and there for that reason.
I think I got into that because kids always, Miss Compos's kids would always have, our families are very close. And her family is really into gaming. So they would get the consoles first. And then we would buy them for our kids, because then my kids would see them and say, I want that too. And Miss Compos is always buying her kids educational games. So they were allowed to have the newest things, but they would have to spend a certain amount of time, being educational on it. So I think that's how I end up with playing brain games on a DS. But before that, I'm pretty sure I owned the very first Nintendo console to ever come out in
Oh, the
1983.
the NES or the Famicom?
Yeah,
Or the Famicom wasn't. That was Japan only.
so I think it was probably the NES. And I played games like Frogger and Ms. Pac-Man, but I also had an Atari, so I can't remember if I could play all those games on both systems.
Oh man, the Atari, that was a console.
Yes, it was.
The 4-bit master.
I mean, you held like a square joystick that was 4 inches long. That's how you steered yourself on the Atari. But the Nintendo was more like a flat, circular kind of a disc that you rotated to move.
The disc. Nintendo in 1986 released a secondary controller after the first controller. I think it was called the Cycloid, that had the disc. It was the first use of a disc that you would see in like the DS, for example. It was the first time they ever used it.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't feel it
But
very
I
often.
would. I mean, I spent a lot of time in arcades when I was growing up, so I was allowed to both. My mom worked, and so after school, I kind of did whatever I wanted to, and I would ride my bike to the arcade, and I would take, $10 in quarters, and I would play all day. I would stay in the arcade, Miss Pac-Man, Frogger, Dugger, or Dugout, or something like that.
Oh, Dig Dug?
Dig Dug, yeah, Dig Dug. Dig Dug and Galactica, is that what it's called? Galactica, maybe?
Oh, Galaga. Oh my god, I love Galaga.
Those are all. I was an arcade kid.
I still have the high score in the Galaga shaped theater, and I'm proud of that fact.
That is something to be proud of.
Undefeated.
Need to make sure that we advertise that at SOAR.
Hey man, get that Tetris thing, that's where it's at.
Make a SOAR arcade.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh.
If only consoles were so expensive nowadays. The cabinets cost like $4,000 to get a home for the time. They're pricey nowadays.
Dang, dude. I remember there's some consoles, like all those retro ones, they seem to be expensive now, but like, I don't know why, man. You can find a Wii for $30.
It's the Wii.
That is true. I think the Wii is a good console, though. Genuinely, it had a lot of the best games, like Super Mario Galaxy, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, games that are Wii Sports.
That's a
Our
masterpiece.
boy Matt ever played.
They had the meme music.
It had Matt, our boy Matt.
I think
Boy, Matt.
the Wii and the PlayStation 2 are like the best consoles in history, for sure. And the SNES. The SNES slaps.
PlayStation 3. I have to say
We
PS3.
really changed.
I'm in club. Sorry.
What did you
Wait,
say?
what? Go ahead.
Didn't the Wii kind of change the way the video game console worked? Wasn't that like the first one that did the whole your body makes the motion kind of thing?
Oh yeah. It's funny because during the time the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox were coming out, and it was like, add more buttons, add more features, make you more in control. Nintendo was like, what if we just put less on there? The Wii remote only had the same amount of buttons as an NES, and yet it sold like 3 times many units as everybody else. The motion control was such a big thing. It was like the biggest craze at the time. It was insanity. Who doesn't own a Wii? Honestly.
Dude,
What's up, Wii? I'm gonna meet you. What's up?
I
What are
still
you
have
gonna
my
do?
controller.
Recording a little segment for
I
the
still
school we
have
record.
everything.
A little audio section we do with our teachers. Jesus, why is that
I
camera
think
so
I still
cool?
have a nunchuck.
Oh, that's stuff in Minecraft. Coordinates for
I
places.
don't know why. I don't
We're almost
I
done.
don't
I'm not trying to
know
that's what we call it.
but I still
No,
have
finish.
all of this stuff.
I'm nostalgic.
We're gonna be out there. Alright.
I still have this thing. Remember, you guys play the game? I don't know. I have all of this stuff. I still have my nunchuck. Wait, do I have Wii Sports? No, I don't. I have my nunchuck. I still have all of this stuff in my room. I am actually sad that I sold my Wii.
Whole Wii set up in the family room. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, the Wii.
You all have Switches now. I think I'm the only one who doesn't have one anymore.
Well, you had a Switch.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one. I'm the only one who doesn't have one anymore. How do you guys think that compares to like all the old school gaming? Like, I think at least all of us at some point have owned a Wii or a DS. Like, I still honestly prefer the handheld consoles over, or not the handheld because the Switch is also handheld, but the older consoles like the DS over the Switches.
Well, I think it's also a factor of nostalgia, you know. A lot of games from the era that we used to play in 2009 and 10 we want that nostalgia back of being able to enjoy Mario and Luigi Inside Story, New Super Mario Brothers. What else came out on the DS? I don't even know. Pokemon Black and White. I think it's a combination of that. I think that the new games on the Switch are just such revolutionary. Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild are just changing genre. They're games that define the genres that they are from now. And the Switch is just a juggernaut of a console, honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's good.
I mean, other than that, like, I think we've also all done a bunch of stuff in quarantine. Have you guys done anything other than like watching TV shows or like playing video games? Like, I've started getting back into just walking into a park next to me and just taking some fresh air while I'm over there.
No.
I've been going on. I walk at least 3 miles every day, which before quarantine I hadn't done in like a year. So it was great. It's great to get that going again.
Well, I mean, I have stuff coming up, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of stuff, but recently.
You have quite a big event happening soon, Ben.
Yeah, just a little bit, Ben. I've been going places, kind of, sort of, like Azenith and I went to Solving, the day before yesterday, and yeah. Other than that, I've done nothing.
I would love to know. I'm curious. I would love to know to what extent have you all been physically distancing? What do your levels are?
I think it depends.
I have gone to the store twice, and that's it.
I've been out quite a bit, actually.
Even breaking those rules, Lima, god damn it.
In the beginning of quarantine, when it was first starting, my family was like, "Oh yeah, we're remodeling the house. We're also going to buy furniture. We're going to start selling it." So I kind of just became a moving man at the beginning of quarantine. That's what I started doing a lot of the time. Now though, I think our family's chilled out a bit more, and we're all sitting at home for a bit. But even then, like, we'll still go out to the store and all that. Of course, with our face mask, and we'll use hand sanitizer and all that when we get back in the house. But we still do go out quite often.
Yeah. For me personally, the work I do already with my dad is usually at home, paperwork, filing things, sending out emails, cashing checks online, all kinds of fun hoopla. So nothing changed on that aspect. But what did change a lot was the fact that my immune system is kind of bad. And I can get bruised by slamming a car door too hard. So I recall when this first started, my doctor called me and she was like, "Hey, right now you're very weak. You're not very powerful. So I want you to stay in your room for 3 days. Don't leave your room. Close your windows. You will stay in that room with your own little self-quarantine for 3 days." And I remember I was talking to these guys, and I was like, "Wow, this is horrible." But I haven't left the house in a few months, outside of, I think, a once weekly blood test, and I've been to the store twice. Otherwise, I haven't left the house at all. I've been bunkered up here.
Yeah.
I have no interest to leave the house.
I've had tons of appointments that I've had to go
Yeah.
to, just like Caesar. Like, I had 3 different ortho appointments during this quarantine. I have an appointment at the eye doctor and one at a physical therapist, and like, I've had to go out for a lot of things, but anytime I go out with friends or something, I'll stay home as much as I can for 2 weeks before and after.
Right.
Yep.
Just
Now,
very.
what about you, Mrs. Nelson? Like, sorry, go ahead, Caesar.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, have you been just chilling at home a lot, Mrs. Nelson? Like,
Yeah, we have. I mean, obviously we have to go to the grocery store sometimes. When it first started, we were actually using Instacart, or we stayed home, like bunkered in probably for about 2 weeks. But like Caesar, my daughter has kidney disease, so also, COVID is probably an extra risk for her. And I am obese, and I'm 49. I just turned 49. And so probably I'm in an at-risk population also. So we're taking it seriously. And, you know, we're fortunate. My husband and I are both teachers and my kids are both in school. So we really were all able to work from home. We've had recently, in the last couple of weeks, we've been socializing, but like no one has been in our house and we haven't been in anyone's house. But we gone over to friends. We'll like meet in the backyard and we all sit 6 feet apart. Or I had Miss Agnew and Miss Campos over at my house for my birthday. And we sat in my backyard and we were all like more than 6 feet apart, but we hung out for a couple hours. So we're pretty serious about the physical distancing.
Right. I think that's the important part.
Wait, Mrs. Nelson, it was your birthday during quarantine?
It was June 7th.
Oh my god.
Birthday is my dad.
Wait, is that?
And my brother.
And then Quentin's June 10th, right? Yeah, June 10th.
Happy late birthday, Mrs. Nelson.
Yes, happy late birthday, or a couple of days late,
Happy
but
late.
you know,
Yeah, just a couple days late, dude.
just a tad.
When it was my dad's birthday, I said happy day of birth.
Happy day of birth.
The English language.
I usually say happy birthday.
Happy.
Well, how about you, Caesar? Are we allowed, like, you couldn't attend a meeting at one point because of something that was going on. I mean, is everything good with that? I know you had some kind of like a sort of emergency procedure or something.
Was that the locked jaw? Is that what that was? Oh no, it was my wisdom teeth extraction. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So my teeth have been popping out for like probably 4 or 5 years now, but we never gotten it taken care of because I didn't want to at first, but then when I found out I had the blood condition, I was like, shoot, if I get the teeth pulled, I can just bleed out and die. And you know, I'm not a fan of that. I don't know about that. So we had to wait a long time until my count for my blood clotting agent count was high enough that I wouldn't bleed out on the table. And that just so happened to be like a month ago. So my doctor was like, now's your time. Like, this is your chance to go do it. I know it's a quarantine. Just be safe, be careful, and go. So that was the day of a QSA meeting, wonderfully enough. And we went in, we got him taken out, and I bled for, I stopped bleeding yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
Only took 14 days or so. But I stopped bleeding yesterday, and it's all good to go now. But, you know, I think it's just, for me at least, it's just been, I have to be a lot more cautious, more than usual, because anything I do could lead to me getting sick. And I caught the flu last week. I got tested, didn't have the disease, but I got the flu. And, like, I haven't felt worse in my entire life than what happened last week with the flu. So, you know, if I catch COVID-19, I'm in for a bad ride. So hopefully that doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us here who all have jaw problems.
Well, that was just because I just slept on it wrong. I just couldn't open it. I was like, all right.
I have TMJ. And Savannah does too.
Yeah.
You have a lot of problems, Savannah.
I've
But
had braces for 5 years. I had a palate adjuster for 2 years before I had braces. I've had 3 oral surgeries. I've had... What else? Oh, I've had 2 teeth extractions, 1 biopsy, 2 gold chains, and still no end in sight.
What is a gold?
It's a literal gold chain that they attached to your tooth.
Why is it gold? What is that?
It's so that it doesn't, like, disintegrate within you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Are these like genetic? Oh, like
Yeah.
teeth problems?
Yeah. I was missing a tooth. Well, actually, I'm missing 2 teeth. I have them now, but they're fake. They're like acrylic teeth until I get an implant, which won't be for another 2 years because I'm only 16. But the order of my teeth, like 4 years ago, they were coming in 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, and so they had to put a gold chain on 6 to get it to go over tooth number 5. And it was fun. It was so much fun.
when I was at the dentist, and I think that was last week. I think it it was last week. I was at the dentist, and the guy that was cleaning my teeth, he said, "You have jaw problems, don't you?" I'm like, "Yup." He's like, "I can hear it pop and shift. Are you okay?" And I said, I
Nope.
could be better.
Oh, I have a dentist appointment on Monday, okay.
Because every time that I was like, you know how like when they clean your teeth, you like hold your mouth open? I can't do that for more than like 3 seconds. So every time he finished a tooth, I had to close my mouth and and when I opened my mouth, I had to like shift my jaw so it's like perfectly good to where it won't hurt.
Ooh.
I ain't got
I think
jaw
you're-
problems.
I
The only problem that
so many.
Go ahead. The only problem that I had with my teeth was that they weren't straight when I was a child. Like they were all on top of each other, so I had to get braces. But I went to Mexico for my braces because they're cheaper. And I had them on for 2 years exactly. I thought I was gonna have them on. She got them put on at the same time as I did, and she's had them on for like 3 years now. But I think that's the only problem I've had with my teeth. And surprisingly, I didn't have to get my wisdom teeth taken out.
My dentist said my wisdom teeth aren't gonna grow until like 3 years. And I have.
But you're almost 18.
They're taking their sweet old time. But
Well, that's just
I have,
fantastic.
I have 3 of them, and they're chilling.
I have one that's dangerously close to this nerve in your jaw that if it touched the nerve, it would pretty much render my jaw useless. So I have to get mine out within the next year.
Might want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just not have a jaw, it's fine.
Oh,
So
yeah.
who needs a job?
Yeah.
I
Who
was
needs
on
one of those?
I went through a YouTube loop of when people had TMJ surgery, and it's terrifying. There was this one guy who was like born where he couldn't like move his mouth, and what they had to do after the surgery, they sewed his like mouth shut. Because if he moved his jaw, then the surgery would render useless. So they sewed his mouth shut, and the only way he could drink anything was it was like this little tiny hole that wasn't sewed in. It was terrible. And at the end of the show, when he got the stitches undone, he had like this gourmet meal.
That sounds like me when I got my braces off. I for the life of me, when I first got my braces on, like the first day, I tried eating a sandwich that I'd made, and God, that hurts so bad.
Wanna know what my dad did when I got my braces on for the first day? He made steak for dinner. And my mom was just watching me, like, trying to cut the steak and just in pain.
Ha.
I ate mac and cheese that day.
Ha.
It's a good supplement.
It was very good. But when I had my braces on, you know when they said, like, don't eat lollipops, don't eat lollipops, yeah, no. Don't eat popcorn. I disobeyed every single one of those rules.
Don't chew gum.
Okay, my dentist said that you could chew gum, but it had to be sugar-free gum.
Oh.
Okay.
But I turned out fine. My teeth are fine.
That still reminds me. I mean, I got my braces off right now in junior year, and I'm actually pretty. I got pretty excited about it. But I mean, like now that we're looking back at stuff, I think that kind of concludes it all. Thank you all for watching the Cord today. It's been great seeing and talking with everybody here. Thank you for coming along, Mrs. Nelson. Thank you for the officers as well for popping on. It was a great Cord. And yeah, we will catch you all later.
Thanks, Miss Nelson.
My show just ended too.